The scent of pine and anticipation hangs thick in the ceremonial hall as wolves from every corner of Silver Moon Pack gather beneath the full moon's silver gaze. Tonight is the night when unmated wolves find their destined partners, when the moon goddess weaves her sacred bonds between souls, when fate itself reaches down and claims its chosen ones. I stand at the edge of the crowd, my hands clasped so tightly before me that my knuckles have gone white. 22 years I've waited for this feeling. 22 years of watching others find their mates, of seeing their eyes glaze with that telltale golden shimmer, of witnessing the beautiful violence of recognition that I've been told defines us as wolves. 22 years of being Sera Ashwood, the beta's daughter who still hasn't found her match, the one they whisper about in corners, the one who makes the elders exchange worried glances when they think I'm not looking. My wolf has been restless for weeks, pacing beneath my skin like she knows something I don't. Like she's been waiting for this specific night, this specific moment. But there's something else, too, something I've never told anyone. My wolf feels wrong, not weak exactly, but constrained, like she's pressing against invisible walls I can't see, can't break, can't even fully acknowledge. I've learned to hide it well. The way my shifts take longer than they should, the way my wolf form never quite matches the power I feel coiled inside my chest, the way I can hold my own in the training yard against Delta wolves twice my size, even though my wolf barely registers as Delta rank herself. My younger sister Maya bounces beside me, her mate Thomas's arm wrapped protectively around her waist. They found each other last year, and the devotion in his eyes when he looks at her still makes my chest ache with something I won't name as envy. "You're going to wear a hole in the floor," Maya whispers, but there's no teasing in her voice, only concern. "I can't help it," I murmur back, scanning the crowd for the 100th time tonight. She won't settle. My wolf, I mean. I've never named her, never felt separate enough from her to need a name. We've always been one being split between two forms. But tonight she's clawing at my insides with unprecedented urgency, her attention fixed on the far side of the hall where the ranked wolves have gathered. The alphas, the betas, the strongest warriors. And then I smell it. Pine and midnight rain, cedarwood and something wild, something that makes my wolf surge forward so violently I actually stumble. The scent wraps around me like smoke, like a drug, and suddenly I can't breathe, can't think, can't do anything but follow that scent to its source. "Sera." Maya's voice sounds distant, concerned, but I'm already moving. The crowd parts instinctively as I walk, though I barely notice. My entire world has narrowed to that scent, to the golden thread I can suddenly feel pulling taut between my ribs and someone across the room. The mate bond. It's real. It's happening. After all these years of waiting, of wondering if I was broken somehow, if the moon goddess had forgotten me, it's finally happening. I see him. Marcus Blackthorn, the Alpha's nephew, future head warrior. 6 feet of corded muscle and dark hair, with eyes the color of amber and a jaw that looks carved from granite. He's standing with a group of warriors, laughing at something one of them said, completely unaware that his entire life is about to change, that our lives are about to change. "Mate," my wolf whispers, and the word is reverent, awed, complete. I walk toward him like I'm in a dream, like I'm floating. The golden thread between us grows brighter with each step, more tangible, until I swear I could reach out and pluck it like a harp string. Any second now he's going to turn around. Any second now he's going to smell me, feel the bond snap into place, and his eyes are going to find mine across the room. He's going to smile that devastating smile I've seen him give to other she-wolves, and this time it will be for me. Only for me. Forever for me. I'm 3 feet away when he goes completely still. His head snaps toward me, those amber eyes widening as recognition slams into him. I watch the bond take hold, watch his nostrils flare as he catches my scent, watch the golden shimmer flood his irises in the unmistakable sign of mate recognition. "Hi," I breathe, and I'm smiling so wide my face hurts. "No." The word is flat, hard, final. I blink, my smile faltering. "What?" Marcus takes a step back from me. actually steps back like I'm something contagious, something dangerous, something he wants nothing to do with. His face has gone carefully blank, but I can see the tension in his shoulders, the rigidity in his spine, the way his jaw clenches like he's physically fighting against something. "This is a mistake," he says, and his voice carries across the suddenly silent hall. When did everyone stop talking? When did every eye in the room turn toward us? When did this private, sacred moment become a public spectacle? "I don't understand," I say, and I hate how small my voice sounds, how uncertain. "The bond. You can feel it, right? You can feel—" "I feel it," he interrupts, and there's something ugly in his tone now, something that makes my wolf whimper and curl into herself. "And I'm telling you it's a mistake." Something cold is spreading through my chest, drowning the warmth that the mate bond brought, freezing everything it touches. "Marcus, what are you—" "You're the beta's daughter," he cuts in, and the way he says it makes it sound like an accusation, like a flaw. "You're not exactly what I expected in a mate." The hall is completely silent now, hundreds of wolves watching this moment, this conversation that should be private, should be sacred, but is instead being performed like theater for the entire pack. And in that silence, his words land like physical blows. "What does that mean?" My voice shakes despite my best efforts to steady it. "What did you expect?" His eyes rake over me, and it's not the heated look I've dreamed about. It's assessment, judgment, dismissal. "Someone stronger," he says finally. "Someone who can stand beside a head warrior, someone who can give me powerful heirs." "I'm the beta's daughter," I repeat, desperate now, reaching for anything that might change his mind. "My bloodline is strong. I can—" "Your wolf is barely Delta rank," he cuts in, and each word is a fresh wound. "Everyone knows it. You've never even shifted in public because you're ashamed of how small your wolf is, how weak." It's true. All of it is true. And hearing my mate say it, hearing the person who's supposed to love me unconditionally throw my deepest insecurities in my face, makes me want to sink into the floor and disappear. "That doesn't matter," I try again, reaching for him even as he steps further back. "The mate bond, the moon goddess chose us for each other. There's a reason. There has to be a reason. The moon goddess makes mistakes." The words hit me like a physical blow, and I actually stagger. My wolf is howling now, a sound of pure anguish that only I can hear, a keening wail that echoes through my mind like a death knell. "Please," I whisper, and I don't even care anymore that everyone is watching, that hundreds of wolves are witnessing my humiliation. "Please don't do this. Just give us a chance. Give me a chance to—" "I, Marcus Blackthorn," he says, his voice ringing clear and cold through the hall, "reject you, Sera Ashwood, as my mate and my equal." The world ends. That's what it feels like the world is ending. The mate bond doesn't just snap or break or sever. It tears. It shreds. It burns its way out of my chest, like someone has reached inside me and ripped out something vital, something I didn't even know I needed to survive until it was gone. I make a sound. I don't know what kind of sound. Something animal and broken that doesn't even sound like it came from me. The pain is indescribable, beyond anything I've ever experienced. Like every nerve ending in my body is on fire. Like my soul is being cleaved in two. Like I'm dying, except dying would probably hurt less than this. The rejection sickness burns through me in waves, each one worse than the last, until I'm on my knees on the ceremony hall floor, and I don't even remember falling. Through the agony, through the feeling of my world shattering into pieces too small to ever put back together, I hear voices. "Someone help her." Moon goddess, what was he thinking? She looks like she's dying. Maybe I am dying. Maybe this is what dying feels like. The pain is so intense I can't breathe, can't see, can't do anything but shake and hurt and feel the empty space where the mate bond used to be, where something precious and sacred was torn away before I even had a chance to understand what it meant. "Sera." Maya's hands are on my shoulders, but I can barely feel them through the pain. "Sera, breathe. You have to breathe." I can't breathe. Can't do anything but make these horrible sobbing sounds that echo off the ceremony hall's vaulted ceiling. Someone is crying, desperate sobs that sound like they're being torn from somewhere deep and wounded. It takes me too long to realize the sounds are coming from me. "Get her out of here," a deep voice commands. My father, the beta. He sounds furious and heartbroken in equal measure. "Get her home. Now." Hands lift me, carry me. The world blurs into shapes and colors that don't make sense. I catch a glimpse of Marcus still standing there, his face pale but set, his amber eyes carefully avoiding the broken thing I've become. He rejected me. My mate, my fated mate, looked at me and decided I wasn't worth keeping. The moon goddess herself chose us, and he rejected me anyway. Said it was a mistake. Said I was a mistake. The last thing I see before darkness swallows me completely is the full moon hanging in the sky outside the ceremony hall windows, round and perfect and completely indifferent to my suffering. Some goddess, some destiny, some fate. 3 days later, I don't die. I wish I did, but I don't. The rejection sickness keeps me in bed for 3 days, fever hot and delirious, while my body tries to adjust to the violent severing of a bond that was barely formed. The pack healer comes and goes, leaving bitter teas and useless platitudes. My mother sits beside my bed and strokes my hair. My father paces like a caged animal, radiating fury that has nowhere to go. Maya cries more than I do. I don't cry at all after that first night. I'm too empty for tears. But in the fever dreams, I see things, memories that don't feel like mine, except they have to be because I'm seeing them through my own 6-year-old eyes. My first shift, but it's wrong. There's agony beyond what a first shift should cause. There are figures in the shadows, watching. There's a woman's voice, cold and calculating, saying words I don't understand. Dark magic words, binding words. There's a face, ancient, withered, covered in tattoos that seem to writhe even in memory. A witch's face. And she's weaving something around my wolf, black and green threads of power that wrap around my small wolf form like chains. She must never know, the witch says. The curse must hold until it's time. And then there's another voice, male this time, familiar in a way that makes my fever-addled brain recoil. "You're certain this will work? She won't awaken?" "Not until I allow it," the witch replies. The Ashwood bloodline produces strong wolves, too strong. This one would have been an alpha if left unchecked. But now she'll never be more than delta, weak, manageable, controllable. I try to see who's speaking, try to turn my dream head toward the male voice, but the fever pulls me under again before I can identify him. When I surface, it's to my mother's worried face and the realization that 4 days have passed since the rejection. "Sweetheart," she says, relief flooding her features. "You're awake, really awake this time." "Water," I croak, and she helps me sit up enough to drink. My body feels like it's been beaten. Every muscle aches. But the fever is gone, and with it, the worst of the physical pain. The emotional pain, the gaping wound where the mate bond used to be, that's still there, still raw, still bleeding. But I've learned not to look at it too closely. "You don't have to go to the pack meeting," my mother says, hovering as I swing my legs out of bed on shaking knees. "Your father can represent our family. Everyone would understand." "I'm going," I say, and my voice sounds flat even to my own ears, hollow, like all the emotion has been scooped out and what's left is just the shell. "Sera, I'm going, Mom." She stares at me for a long moment, and I see the worry in her eyes, the fear that I've broken in some fundamental way that can't be fixed. Maybe I have. Maybe this is what broken looks like. But I'm going to that pack meeting anyway, because if I start hiding now, I'll never stop. If I let Marcus's rejection turn me into something small and afraid, then he wins. Then everyone who ever whispered about my weak wolf and my late bonding wins. And I'm so tired of other people winning. The pack meeting is held in the Alpha's house, a sprawling mansion at the center of our territory. When I walk in with my family, conversations don't stop exactly, but they shift. Eyes slide toward me and then quickly away. Pity drips from every glance like poison. I keep my head up and my face blank. I've had 4 days to practice this expression, this careful neutrality that shows nothing of the screaming void inside my chest. Marcus is there, standing with the other warriors. He doesn't look at me. Hasn't looked at me since the rejection. I'm grateful for that, at least. I don't know what I'd do if he tried to talk to me, tried to apologize or explain. Actually, I do know. I'd break. And I refuse to break in front of him again. Alpha Dominic calls the meeting to order, and I barely listen to the usual pack business. Territory patrols, supply issues, upcoming ceremonies. My mind is elsewhere, locked in that endless loop of memory. The smell of pine and midnight rain, the golden thread forming and then tearing, the look on Marcus's face when he decided I wasn't good enough. Representatives from the capital arriving tomorrow. Something in Alpha Dominic's tone cuts through my spiral, makes me focus. There's tension in his voice, worry even. The Alpha King is touring the outer packs. He'll be here for 3 days. The capital, where Kaelen Nightshade rules over all the packs in the territories, where the Alpha King maintains order through strength and strategy that's become legend. They say he built his empire through conquest, not inheritance. They say he's never lost a battle, never backed down from a challenge, never shown mercy to those who threaten his domain. They also say he's searching for something, has been for 10 years. The Alpha King hasn't visited our pack in over a decade, someone murmurs. Why now? He's looking for something, Dominic says carefully. That's all I was told. Looking for what? I should care about this. The visit of an Alpha King is significant, potentially dangerous depending on what he finds. But I can't make myself feel anything beyond the hollow ache where my mate bond used to be. Let the Alpha King come. Let him judge us all. What does it matter? Nothing matters anymore. The meeting ends and I'm heading for the door when I hear my name. Sera, wait! I turn to find Elder Miriam approaching, her ancient face creased with concern. She's one of the oldest wolves in the pack, a keeper of traditions and history, and something about the way she's looking at me makes my skin prickle with awareness. Yes, Elder? I ask, summoning a politeness I don't feel. She takes my hands in hers, her skin papery and cool against mine. I'm sorry for what happened to you, child. A rejection is a terrible thing. Thank you, I say automatically, the words meaningless. But you should know. She leans closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that only I can hear. A rejection doesn't mean your story is over. Sometimes the moon goddess's first choice isn't her final one. I stare at her, trying to parse meaning from cryptic words. What does that mean? It means fate is more complicated than we teach the young ones. Her eyes are strange, distant, like she's seeing something I can't. It means sometimes we have to be broken before we can be remade into what we're truly meant to be. A chill runs down my spine. I don't understand. The Alpha King's visit isn't a coincidence, Sera. Her grip tightens on my hands. Nothing is ever a coincidence. And something tells me that when he arrives, everything is going to change again. Before I can ask what she means, she pats my hands and shuffles away, leaving me standing there with a cold feeling spreading through my stomach. The Alpha King is coming, and somehow Elder Miriam thinks it has something to do with me, with my rejection, with whatever fate has in store. I just don't know if I can survive another change. I've barely survived this one. That night, I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see Marcus's face, hear his words, feel the bond tearing. So instead of lying in bed staring at the ceiling, I do what I've been doing every night since I recovered enough to walk. I go to the training yard. The moon is high and bright, casting silver light across the empty space. Everyone else is asleep, which is exactly what I want. No witnesses, no judgment, no one to see me struggle with shifts that should be effortless, with a wolf that feels like she's trying to break through walls I can't see. I strip down to my training clothes and close my eyes, reaching for my wolf. She's there, as always, but she feels different tonight, more present, more aware. Like the rejection somehow cracked something open inside me. The shift comes with the usual pain, the usual sense of wrongness. Bones breaking and reforming, muscles tearing and rebuilding. When it's done, I'm standing on 4 legs, and I can feel how small I am, how weak I must look to anyone watching, except I'm not weak. That's the thing that's always confused me. In this form, I should be helpless against the ranked wolves, but I've sparred against deltas who outweigh me by 50 pounds and held my own. Not through skill, I'm not trained enough for that. Through something else, through instinct, through a power that doesn't match what everyone sees when they look at my wolf. I start running, pushing my small wolf body as hard as it will go. The night air rushes past me, cool and clean, and for a few blessed moments, my mind goes quiet. There's only the run, only the movement, only the feeling of my paws hitting earth in a rhythm as old as time, but then I catch a scent. Foreign, powerful, wrong. I skid to a stop in the center of the training yard, my hackles rising instinctively. Someone's here, someone who shouldn't be, someone whose scent carries so much alpha power it makes my wolf want to submit and challenge in equal measure. A figure steps out of the shadows at the edge of the yard. Even in the moonlight, even from this distance, I can see he's massive. Easily 6'4", with shoulders broad enough to block out the stars. Dark hair, tactical gear, and an aura of controlled violence that makes every instinct I have scream danger. But it's his eyes that freeze me in place. Even in human form, they glow with that strange amber-silver light that speaks of a wolf so powerful he exists somewhere between human and beast, even when he's not shifted. The Alpha King. Kaelen Nightshade is here, in Silvermoon territory, in my training yard, and he's staring at me with an intensity that makes my wolf whimper and crouch low, not in submission, in recognition. "Shift," he says, and it's not a request. It's a command laced with alpha power that my wolf can't resist. I shift back to human form, grateful that I'm wearing clothes that survive the transformation. Sports bra and leggings aren't much, but they're better than nothing. I stand there, trying to control my breathing, trying to understand why the Alpha King is here, why he's looking at me like I'm the answer to a question he's been asking for years. "Sera Ashwood," he says, and something about hearing my name in his voice makes my skin prickle with awareness. Beta's daughter, recently rejected by Marcus Blackthorn. It's not a question, but I nod anyway. "Yes, Your Majesty." He takes a step closer, moving with a predator's grace that makes my wolf wake up fully for the first time since the rejection. Not afraid, interested, alert, like she recognizes something in him that I can't quite see. "How long have you felt like your wolf is caged?" he asks. The question is so unexpected, so perfectly targeted at the secret I've kept my entire life, that I actually stagger. "What?" "Your wolf," he continues, and he's circling me now, studying me from every angle. "She's small. Everyone sees a weak delta, but that's not what I see." "I don't know what you mean," I lie, because admitting the truth feels too dangerous. Admitting that I've always felt like my wolf is bigger than what shows, stronger than what others see, that would make me sound crazy. "You do know," he says, and suddenly he's right in front of me, close enough that I can smell him. Winter frost and ancient forests, smoke and something wild that makes my wolf surge forward despite having no mate bond to justify the attraction. "Your wolf knows. I can see it in your eyes. The confusion, the frustration, the sense that something is wrong but you can't understand what." "Everyone says I'm weak," I whisper, because it's easier than admitting he might be right. Everyone is wrong. His hand comes up slowly, giving me time to pull away, and touches the center of my chest, right over my heart. "You're not weak, Sera Ashwood. You're cursed." The moment his skin makes contact, power surges through me. Not painful, not invasive, but shocking in its intensity, like lightning running through my veins, like something waking up after a very long sleep. And for just a second, just one perfect second, I see her. My wolf, my real wolf. Not the small brown delta form I shift into, but something else entirely. Something massive and powerful and radiant. Silver white fur that seems to glow with its own light. Eyes that burn with the same strange amber silver as the Alpha King's. A presence that feels ancient and new all at once. and wrapped around her, binding her, caging her, are thousands upon thousands of black-green threads, chains made of magic, a curse so intricate and powerful that it must have taken a master to create. The vision ends as quickly as it came, and I'm gasping, pulling back from Kaelen's touch. "What was that? What did you do?" "I showed you the truth," he says, and there's something fierce in his expression now, something that looks almost like rage. "Someone cursed you when you were very young, probably shortly after your first shift. They bound your wolf, suppressed her power, made you appear weak when you're actually strong, made you seem Delta when you're something else entirely." "No." I'm shaking my head, backing away. "That's impossible. Who would do that? Why?" "That's what I intend to find out." His eyes are glowing brighter now, and I realize this is what real alpha dominance looks like. Not Marcus's petty rejection, not the posturing of ranked wolves trying to prove themselves. This is power that's been earned through blood and battle and absolute certainty. But first, I need to know if you'll accept my help. "Help with what?" My voice is barely above a whisper. "Breaking the curse, freeing your wolf, becoming who you were always meant to be." He pauses, and something intense flashes in his eyes. "And then, if you're willing, I want you to come back to the capital with me." The world tilts sideways. "What?" "I'm claiming you, Sera Ashwood." His voice is firm, absolute, brooking no argument. "Not as a mate. I'm not your fated mate, and I won't pretend otherwise. But as mine, under my protection, in my pack." I don't understand. My mind is spinning, trying to process everything. Curse, truth, claiming. "Why would you do this? You don't even know me." "Because you're what I've been looking for," he says simply. "Because I can feel the power locked inside you, and I want to see what happens when you're finally free. Because your mate was a fool to reject you, and I'm not a fool." He extends his hand toward me. "So what do you say, Sera? Will you let me help you? Will you come with me and discover who you really are?" I stare at his hand, at the choice he's offering me. Stay here in Silvermoon Pack, where everyone knows I was rejected, where I'll always be the broken Omega who wasn't good enough for her fated mate, where I'll spend the rest of my life being pitied and whispered about. Or go with him, with the Alpha King, into the unknown, into danger, into a future I can't even begin to imagine. My wolf is howling at me to take his hand. Not because of a mate bond, we both know this isn't that, but because she recognizes something in him, something that calls to the power trapped inside us both. "If I say yes," I ask quietly, "can I ever come back?" "If you want to," he says, and his hand doesn't waver. "But I don't think you'll want to. I think once you see what you're capable of, once you understand what was stolen from you, you won't want to go back to being small." He's right. I know he's right. I can feel it in my bones. I'm so tired of being small, so tired of being weak, so tired of being rejected and pitied and treated like I'm something broken that needs to be hidden away. Maybe it's time to find out what happens when I stop accepting what everyone else thinks I am. Maybe it's time to become something else entirely. I take his hand. His fingers close around mine, warm and strong and sure. And when his eyes meet mine, I see something that looks almost like satisfaction, almost like relief, almost like he's been searching for me specifically, not just any cursed wolf, but me. "Good," he says. "We leave at dawn." And just like that, my life changes again. But this time, I'm the one choosing the change. This time, I'm the one taking the leap. I just hope I survive the fall. Dawn breaks over Silvermoon Pack in shades of amber and gold, painting the sky with colors that should feel hopeful, but instead feel ominous. I stand in front of my childhood home with a single bag containing everything I'm taking with me, which isn't much. A few changes of clothes, a photo of my family, the silver pendant my grandmother gave me before she died. That's it. That's all I need from this life I'm leaving behind. My mother is crying openly now, her arms wrapped around me so tightly I can barely breathe. "You don't have to do this," she whispers against my hair. "You don't have to go with him." "Yes, I do," I say, and I mean it. Every instinct I have is screaming that this is right, that getting into those black SUVs with the Alpha King is the only choice that makes sense. I need to know, Mom. I need to know what I really am. My father stands nearby, his jaw tight with suppressed emotion. He's been beta of this pack for 30 years, served Alpha Dominic with unwavering loyalty, and now he's watching his daughter leave under the protection of a king who could crush their entire territory without breaking a sweat. If he hurts you, my father says, his voice low and dangerous, Alpha King or not, I'll find a way to make him pay. He won't hurt me, I say, with a certainty I don't fully understand. Something about Kaelen Nightshade, about the way he looked at me in the training yard, about the controlled power in every movement, tells me that whatever he is, whatever he wants from me, harm isn't part of the equation. Maya hugs me last, whispering promises that we'll see each other soon, that this isn't goodbye, just see you later. I hold her tight and try to believe it. Alpha Dominic gives me a formal farewell, his expression troubled but resigned. The Alpha King has claimed me under ancient law, and there's nothing Dominic can do about it even if he wanted to, which, based on the relief I see flickering in his eyes, he doesn't. One less problem wolf in his pack, one less source of whispers and pity. Marcus is here too, standing near the back of the gathered crowd. I see him out of the corner of my eye, but I don't look directly at him. Don't give him the satisfaction of my attention. He made his choice. Now he can live with it. The motorcade is already assembled when I arrive. 20 black SUVs with tinted windows, at least 50 elite guards in tactical gear, and an aura of military precision that makes Silvermoon security look like children playing soldier. Kaelen stands beside the lead vehicle, dressed all in black, his presence commanding attention from every wolf in the vicinity. Miss Ashwood. A scarred man approaches me, his expression carefully neutral, but his eyes assessing. I'm Ryder Stone, captain of the King's Guard. You'll be riding in the second vehicle with me. His Majesty will be in the lead. Okay, I say, because what else is there to say? This is happening. This is real. I'm leaving everything I've ever known to chase a truth I don't fully understand. Kaelen's eyes find mine across the distance, and something passes between us. Not words, not even a clear emotion, just acknowledgement, recognition, a sense that we're both stepping into something that can't be undone. I climb into the SUV, settling into leather seats that probably cost more than my family makes in a month. Ryder takes the seat across from me, and within moments, we're moving, leaving Silvermoon Pack behind, leaving my old life behind, driving toward a future that terrifies and exhilarates me in equal measure. The journey to Eclipse City takes 6 hours through territories I've only heard about in stories. We pass packlands that blur together into forests and fields and small towns where wolves stop to stare as the Alpha King's motorcade rolls through. Ryder sits across from me, mostly silent, but occasionally speaking into a radio to coordinate with the other vehicles. You're afraid, he says after the first hour. Not a question, but a statement of fact. I'm terrified, I admit, because there seems no point in lying to someone who can probably smell my emotions anyway. Good, Ryder says, leaning back in his seat. Fear means you're smart. Most wolves would be terrified in your position. That's not exactly comforting. It's not meant to be comforting. It's meant to be honest. He studies me with those assessing eyes. The king doesn't do anything without reason. If he's claimed you, brought you to the capital, it's because he sees something in you that he needs, or wants, or both. What's he like? The question escapes before I can stop it. Really like, I mean, not the public version. Ryder considers this for a long moment. Complicated, fair but ruthless. He expects absolute loyalty, but gives it in return. He's the best leader I've ever served under. He pauses. But he's also damaged in ways most people don't see. He lost someone important 10 years ago, someone he couldn't save. It's driven everything he's done since. The way Ryder says it makes my skin prickle with awareness. A mate? A friend, a warrior, someone under his protection who died because he didn't act fast enough. Ryder's expression darkens. He swore that day he'd never fail to protect someone again, that he'd become strong enough, smart enough, prepared enough to save anyone who needed saving. And that's why he's searching for cursed wolves, I say slowly, pieces clicking into place. Because he couldn't save one before. That's part of it, Ryder agrees. But with you, I think it's more. I think you're specifically what he's been looking for. Not just any cursed wolf. You. The weight of those words settles over me like a heavy cloak, and I spend the rest of the journey staring out the window, trying to understand what it means that the Alpha King has been searching specifically for me. Eclipse City rises before us like something out of a dream. Gleaming towers of glass and steel mixed with older stone buildings, all of it surrounded by a massive wall that speaks of both protection and power. We pass through gates manned by guards who snap to attention as the motorcade approaches, their eyes tracking our vehicles with laser focus. The streets inside are wider than any I've seen, lined with shops and restaurants and wolves going about their business. But everything stops when we pass. Wolves freeze mid-step, mid-conversation, turning to watch the Alpha King's vehicles roll by. Some bow their heads. Others press their hands to their hearts in a gesture of respect and devotion. This is what real power looks like, I realize. Not just strength, but loyalty earned through action. These wolves don't just fear their king, they revere him. The motorcade winds through the city until we reach what can only be described as a palace. Massive white stone and dark glass, surrounded by manicured gardens and more guards than I can count. It's beautiful and terrifying, ancient and modern, a physical manifestation of the wolf who rules from within it. We pull into a circular drive, and Ryder opens the door for me. I step out on shaky legs, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of everything. The palace, the city, the weight of what I've agreed to. Kaelen is already striding toward the entrance, his guards flanking him, his presence making every wolf in sight stand straighter, move faster, work harder. He stops at the massive doors and turns back to look at me. "Sera," his voice cuts through my spiral of anxiety. "Keep up." It's not cruel, just matter of fact. A reminder that I'm here at his sufferance, that I need to meet his expectations or be left behind. I hurry to catch up, Ryder at my side, and together we enter the palace. Inside is even more impressive. Vaulted ceilings decorated with murals of ancient battles, marble floors polished to a mirror shine, artwork that probably costs more than my entire pack's annual income. Wolves in formal attire move through hallways with purpose, all of them stopping to bow as Kaelen passes. He doesn't acknowledge any of them, just keeps walking with that confident stride, his destination apparently clear in his mind. We end up in what looks like a private wing, away from the bustle of the main palace. Kaelen stops at a door and pushes it open to reveal a suite that makes the guest quarters in my pack look like a closet. "These are your rooms," he says, gesturing inside. "You'll stay here while we work on breaking your curse." I step inside, taking in the enormous bedroom, the sitting area, the bathroom visible through another door that contains a tub the size of a small pool. This is too much. I don't need all this space. "You're under my protection now. You'll be housed accordingly." He moves to leave, then pauses. "There's going to be a challenge tomorrow, at dawn. Marcus Blackthorne has followed us here. He's demanding the right to fight for you." My stomach drops. "What?" "He claims I took you against your will, that as your rejected mate, he still has rights." Kaelen's expression is unreadable. "I've accepted his challenge, trial by combat, submission or death." "You can't," I start, but he cuts me off. "I can and I will." He questioned my claim. "In our world, challenges must be answered." His eyes meet mine. "Unless you don't want me to fight for you. Unless you'd rather go back with him." "No," I say immediately, surprising myself with the vehemence. "No, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here. I want to break this curse and find out who I really am." Something that might be satisfaction flickers across his face. "Good. Then rest tonight. Tomorrow you'll watch me teach your former mate what happens when someone questions the Winter King's claim." He leaves before I can respond, and I'm alone in a palace room in a city I don't know, committed to a path I don't fully understand. But beneath the fear and uncertainty, there's something else. Anticipation. Excitement. The sense that tomorrow, when Kaelen faces Marcus in combat, I'll start to understand exactly what kind of wolf has claimed me. Dawn comes too quickly. I barely sleep, my mind racing with images of Marcus and Kaelen fighting, of blood on stone, of what happens if Kaelen loses. But when Ryder comes to escort me to the arena at first light, one look at his calm expression tells me he has no doubts about the outcome. The arena is an open space in the center of the palace grounds, a 50-foot circle of packed earth surrounded by stone seating that's already filled with wolves. Eclipse City's entire court seems to be here, along with the Silver Moon wolves who traveled with Marcus. I'm led to a section near the front, guarded by two of Kaelen's elite warriors, who make it clear I'm not going anywhere. Marcus enters first, dressed in full tactical gear with dual blades strapped to his back. He looks every inch the warrior he's trained to be, confident and capable. But there's something in his eyes when they find me, something that might be regret or longing or the belated realization of what he threw away. Too late. Far too late for regrets. Kaelen enters second, and the difference is immediately apparent. He's wearing minimal armor, just reinforced leather over his chest and arms, with a single sword at his hip. No elaborate weapons, no show of force. Just controlled, absolute confidence in his own abilities. They face each other across the arena, and an official I don't recognize steps forward to lay out the rules. There are none, really. Fight until one submits or dies. Those are the only options. "You don't deserve her," Marcus says, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You don't even know her." "And you did?" Kaelen's voice is calm, almost conversational. "You rejected her, cast her aside like she was worthless. Now you want her back because someone else saw her value?" He shakes his head. "That's not love. That's pride." "I made a mistake," Marcus shouts, and there's real pain in his voice now. "I see that now. I see what she is, what she could be, and I want the chance to make it right." "You had your chance," Kaelen says, and his voice drops to something lethal. "You threw it away. Now she's mine." The fight begins without warning. Marcus attacks first, fast and aggressive, his blades flashing in the early morning light. He's well-trained, his movements efficient and practiced. But Kaelen doesn't even draw his sword yet. He simply defends, blocking and dodging with minimal effort, his expression thoughtful as he analyzes Marcus's fighting style. "Is that all?" Kaelen asks after Marcus's 10th strike fails to land. "Is this the skill of Silver Moon's future head warrior?" Marcus snarls and attacks faster, harder, putting real power behind his strikes. "You don't deserve her," he repeats, and the desperation in his voice is palpable. "I'm her fated mate. The Moon Goddess chose us." "The Moon Goddess also gave her the strength to survive your rejection," Kaelen says, still defending, still not attacking back. Maybe that was the real gift. Freedom from someone too blind to see her worth. That does it. Marcus abandons technique for pure aggression, throwing everything he has into a series of strikes designed to overwhelm through sheer force. And that's when Kaelen switches tactics. One moment he's defensive, the next he's on the offensive, and the transformation is terrifying. Every move is calculated, surgical, targeting specific points with devastating precision. Within seconds, he's disarmed one of Marcus's blades. Within a minute, he's landed 3 strikes that would have been fatal if he'd chosen to make them so. "You fought for pride," Kaelen says, his sword now at Marcus's throat as the younger wolf falls to his knees. "I fight for purpose. That's why you lose." Marcus is breathing hard, blood trickling from a cut on his cheek where Kaelen's blade grazed him. "Please," he says, and the word sounds like it costs him everything. "Please don't take her from me." "I'm not taking her from you," Kaelen says, lowering his sword. "You gave her away. I'm simply giving her what she deserves. Protection, respect, the chance to become who she was always meant to be." He looks at me then, his eyes finding mine across the arena. "And if that's not enough, if she chooses to leave, I'll let her go." Because unlike you, I understand that claiming someone means honoring their choice. Something in my chest tightens at those words, at the promise underlying them. Kaelen isn't keeping me prisoner. He's offering me freedom to become more than I was. That's the difference between him and Marcus. Marcus wanted to keep me small and controllable. Kaelen wants to see me grow. Yield, Kaelen says, returning his attention to Marcus. Marcus looks at his father, Victor Blackthorn, who's watching from the Silvermoon section with an expression I can't read. Something passes between them, some silent communication, and Marcus's face goes pale. I yield, he says finally, the words seeming to cost him everything. Kaelen steps back, allowing Marcus to rise. The fight is over, the challenge answered. I'm staying in Eclipse City under Kaelen's protection, and there's nothing Marcus or anyone from Silvermoon can do about it. But as Marcus is led away by his pack members, he turns back one last time. His lips move, forming words only I can read. My father. Don't trust him. Before I can process what that means, before I can ask questions or demand explanations, Marcus is gone, and Kaelen is crossing the arena toward me. It's time, he says simply. The ritual chamber is ready. If you want to break this curse, we need to do it now. My heart starts racing. Now? Already? But I suppose there's no reason to wait. No reason to delay facing the truth of what I am, what's been done to me, what breaking this curse might cost. I'm ready, I lie, because I'm not ready at all, but I'm going to do it anyway. Kaelen leads me through the palace, down into levels I didn't know existed. The modern elegance gives way to older construction, stone walls that feel ancient, that hum with power accumulated over centuries. We descend stairs that spiral deeper and deeper until we reach a heavy wooden door marked with symbols I don't recognize. This is the oldest part of the palace, Kaelen explains as he pushes open the door. Built when the first Alpha King claimed this territory over 500 years ago. Some of the pack's most important rituals happen down here. Inside is a circular chamber carved entirely from dark stone. Candles provide the only light, hundreds of them arranged in intricate patterns on the floor. And in the center, drawn in what looks like salt, mixed with something that glimmers silver in the candlelight, is a massive circle filled with more symbols. Grandmother Celeste sits in a chair near the wall, so ancient she looks like she might crumble to dust at any moment. But her eyes, when they focus on me, are sharp and bright and knowing. Ah, she says, her voice surprisingly strong. So this is the one. Sera, Kaelen says, this is Grandmother Celeste. She's the pack's eldest witch, and she'll be assisting with the ritual. Witch? I echo weakly. Half witch, half wolf, Celeste corrects, pushing herself to her feet with surprising grace. A rare combination, but useful for this sort of thing. She approaches me, those sharp eyes studying every inch of my face. Yes, I can see it. The suppression. It's woven through you like a parasite, choking your true nature. Her words make my skin crawl. Can you remove it? I can help him remove it, she says, gesturing to Kaelen. But make no mistake, child, this is going to hurt. The curse has been part of you for so long that tearing it out will feel like tearing out pieces of your soul. How comforting, I mutter. She laughs, a sound like dry leaves rustling. I like this one, Kaelen. She's got spine. Kaelen steps forward, his expression serious. Sera, before we begin, you need to understand what's going to happen. Celeste and I are going to enter a shared trance state, linking our power together. We'll use that combined power to see the curse, to actually see it mapped out across your wolf's essence. And then, very carefully, we're going to start unraveling it. How long will it take? My voice sounds steadier than I feel. Hours, maybe as long as 6 or 7. His expression is grave. You'll be conscious the entire time. You'll feel everything. And at some point, you're going to want us to stop. The pain will seem worse than living with the curse. But if we stop midway, the damage could be permanent. But if I ask you to stop, you will? Yes, he says firmly. This only works if you choose it, Sera. If you consent to it every step of the way, The moment you tell us to stop, we will. No judgment, no consequences. I take a deep breath, looking at the circle on the floor, at the candles, at the two wolves who are offering to help me become something more than I've ever been. What do I need to do? Relief flickers across Kaelen's face. Step into the circle, sit in the center, and trust us. Trust. Such a simple word for something so complicated. But I do trust him, I realize. I don't know why, don't understand it, but I trust that Kaelen Nightshade will do everything in his power to keep me safe during this process. I step into the circle, careful not to disturb any of the symbols, and sit cross-legged in the center. The stone is cold beneath me, and I'm suddenly aware of how thin my clothes are. But there's no time for second thoughts now. Kaelen and Celeste take positions on opposite sides of the circle, sitting cross-legged like me, forming a triangle. The symbolism isn't lost on me. 3 points of power, working together to break what one witch created alone. Close your eyes, Celeste instructs. Focus on your breathing. Find your wolf. I do, sinking inward, searching for the presence that's been part of me since I was 6 years old. She's there, as always, but distant, muted, like she's behind thick glass. I'm going to begin the chant, Celeste says. Don't be alarmed. It's an old language, older than the Pax. It's the language of magic itself. She starts speaking, words I don't understand flowing from her mouth in a rhythmic pattern. The air in the chamber changes, grows heavy, charged with power that makes my skin prickle. I can feel it pressing against me, seeping into my pores. Then Kaelen joins in, his deeper voice weaving through Celeste's, creating a harmony that makes my bones vibrate. The power intensifies, building and spiraling until I can barely breathe through the weight of it. And then it enters me. I gasp, my eyes flying open despite Celeste's instructions. The chamber is glowing, the symbols on the floor pulsing with light, the candles burning brighter. Kaelen and Celeste are both surrounded by auras of power. His is silver-white, pure alpha dominance. Hers is green-gold, wild and ancient. Look inward, Kaelen commands, his voice echoing strangely. Look at your wolf. Can you see her? I close my eyes again, focusing past the power flooding my system. And oh goddess, I can see her, actually see her, like a vision projected inside my mind. My wolf, curled in on herself, and wrapped around her like chains are threads of sickly black-green light. Hundreds of them, thousands, binding her legs, her muzzle, her chest, her throat. I see it, I whisper. The curse. It's everywhere. Good, Celeste says. Now hold very still, child. We're coming in. The power that's been swirling around me suddenly focuses, becomes 2 distinct presences in my mind. Kaelen and Celeste, their consciousness merging with mine, seeing what I see. Kaelen breathes out a curse. Whoever did this was powerful. This is masterwork, and old, 17 years at least. 17 years, Celeste confirms. It's had time to root deep, to become part of her essence. This won't be easy. Can you remove it? I ask, and my mental voice sounds small, afraid. Yes, Kaelen says, his presence moving closer, examining the threads. But Celeste was right. This is going to hurt. I'm ready. No, you're not, he says, not unkindly. No one's ever ready for this, but we'll be here with you. You won't be alone. And then they begin. The first thread comes away with a sensation like a hot knife sliding under my skin. I cry out, my body jerking involuntarily. But Kaelen's voice cuts through the pain. Breathe, Sera. Focus on breathing. The second thread is worse. The third makes me scream. By the 10th, I'm sobbing, begging them to please stop. Please, it hurts too much. I know. Kaelen's voice is steady, anchoring. I know it hurts, but look at your wolf. Look at her. I force myself to look through the tears and agony, and even through the pain I can see the difference. Where the threads have been removed, my wolf's fur is brighter, healthier. She's lifting her head, her eyes opening, awareness returning. She's waking up, I whisper. She is, Celeste confirms. Keep going, child. We're maybe a 10th of the way through. A 10th. Goddess help me. only a tenth. The next hour is agony. Pure, unrelenting agony as they methodically remove thread after thread, layer after layer of curse. I scream until my voice goes raw. I beg them to stop, promise things I'll never remember later, threaten and plead and break down completely. But through it all, Kaelen's voice is there, steady, unshakable. "You're doing so well, Sera. Just a little more. Stay with us. Don't give up." My wolf is struggling now, fighting against the remaining threads, desperate to break free. The pain of her struggles combines with the pain of the removal until I can't tell where one ends and the other begins. "Halfway," Celeste announces. "The worst is behind us now, child." Liar. It gets worse. Because as more threads come away, my wolf gets stronger. And stronger means more aware of what's been done to her, of what's been stolen. She starts to howl, a sound of rage and grief that echoes through my mind like a siren. "Easy," Kaelen soothes, his presence wrapping around both of us. "Easy, little wolf. We're almost there. Almost free." Hours blur together, or maybe minutes. Time has lost all meaning in this place of pain and power and slow, agonizing liberation. There's only the removal, the methodical process of unmaking what someone made, of freeing what someone bound. "Last layer," Celeste finally says, and I could weep with relief. "This one's wrapped around her heart, Kaelen. It's going to be delicate." I see it. His presence moves closer, and I feel his focus sharpen to a razor's edge. "Sera, this is the most important part. You need to stay absolutely still. If I slip, if I cut wrong, I could damage your wolf's essence permanently." "Okay," I manage, though I'm shaking so hard I don't know how I'll stay still. "Look at me." It's a command, and even in this mental space, I obey. Kaelen's presence manifests before me, not his physical form, but his essence, pure power, pure dominance, pure focused will. "I won't let anything happen to you. Do you understand? I won't let you break." I understand. "Then trust me one more time." I do. Against all logic, all reason, I trust him. He begins to work on the final threads, and the pain is different now. Deeper, more fundamental, like he's operating on my very soul. My wolf whimpers, afraid, but I hold her steady, hold us both steady. "Almost," Kaelen murmurs. "Almost there. Last thread, Sera." He cuts, and something tears, and the curse breaks. It doesn't fade gradually. It shatters, explodes outward in a wave of black-green light that makes me scream one final time. And in the space where it lived, where it bound my wolf for 17 years, power rushes in to fill the void. My power, my true power, and it's massive. My wolf surges to her feet, no longer small, no longer weak. She's enormous, easily twice the size I thought she was. Her fur ripples with power, with potential, with all the strength that's been locked away. She throws back her head and howls, a sound of pure triumph, pure joy, pure fury at what was stolen and relief at what's been returned. And I howl with her. In the physical world, my body convulses. Light pours from my skin, not the golden light of a normal wolf, but something else, something that makes Celeste gasp, and Kaelen go very, very still. "Impossible," Celeste breathes. "Not impossible," Kaelen says, and there's awe in his voice. "Just very, very rare." The light fades, the power settles, and I open my eyes to find myself lying on the stone floor, every muscle in my body screaming, but alive, so incredibly alive. "What am I?" I ask, my voice hoarse from screaming. Kaelen is kneeling beside me, his hand steady on my shoulder. He looks at me, those glowing eyes filled with something I can't name, and smiles. "You, Sera Ashwood," he says, "are a lunar wolf, the first one born in over 300 years. And not just any lunar wolf. You're an alpha dominant, the strongest classification of lunar wolf that exists." The words don't make sense, can't make sense, but I can feel the truth of them in my bones, in my wolf, in the power that's now flowing freely through my veins. "What does that mean?" I whisper. "It means," Celeste says, her voice filled with wonder, "that you are blessed by the moon goddess herself. It means your power goes beyond normal hierarchy, beyond Alpha, beyond anything most wolves will ever understand. It means you are the rarest, most precious thing our kind can produce." "It means," Kaelen adds, his hand tightening on my shoulder, "that someone knew exactly what you were, and they tried to bury you before you could become a threat to their power." The implications crash over me like a wave. Someone cursed me, someone powerful enough to bind a lunar wolf, someone who knew what I was when I was just 6 years old. "Who?" The word comes out as a growl. "Who did this to me?" "That's what we're going to find out," Kaelen promises, and there's something deadly in his expression now. "And when we do, they're going to answer for what they stole from you." He helps me sit up, and I realize I'm shaking, not from pain anymore, but from the sheer magnitude of what just happened. I'm not weak. I never was. I'm a lunar wolf, an alpha-dominant lunar wolf. The first in 300 years. Marcus didn't reject me because I was worthless. He rejected me because some part of him, some instinct, sensed what I really was, and it terrified him. "I need to shift," I say suddenly. The urge is overwhelming, undeniable. I need to see her, my real wolf. "Not yet," Kaelen says firmly. "Your body isn't ready. Give it at least 24 hours to adjust, otherwise you could hurt yourself." Frustration surges through me, but I can see the logic in his words. I'm exhausted, wrung out, barely able to sit upright. Shifting now would be dangerous. "Help me up," I say instead. "I want to stand." Kaelen pulls me to my feet, and immediately my legs nearly give out. He catches me, one arm around my waist, holding me steady against his chest. This close, I can feel the heat of him, smell that scent of winter frost and ancient forests, feel the steady beating of his heart against my cheek. "Easy," he murmurs. "You've been sitting for almost 7 hours. Your body needs time to remember how to work." 7 hours. 7 hours of agony that felt like both an eternity and a heartbeat. "I did it," I whisper, and suddenly I'm crying again. Not from pain this time, but from relief, from joy, from the overwhelming realization that I'm free, actually, truly free. I actually did it. "You did," Kaelen says, and there's pride in his voice, pride and something warmer. "You were incredibly brave, Sera. Most wolves would have given up." "I wanted to," I admit against his chest. "So many times I wanted to tell you to stop. But you didn't." His arm tightens around me. That's what matters. We stand like that for a long moment, me leaning against him holding me up, while Celeste watches with an unreadable expression on her ancient face. Finally, she clears her throat. "The king should take you to your rooms," she says. "You need rest, real rest. Your body needs to recover from what it's been through." "I can walk," I protest weakly. "No," Kaelen says, "you can't." And then he's lifting me, actually lifting me into his arms like I weigh nothing. I should protest, should insist on my own 2 feet, but I'm too tired, too wrung out. So instead, I let my head fall against his shoulder and close my eyes. "Thank you," I murmur, as he carries me toward the door. "For not giving up on me." "I would never give up on you," he says, and there's something fierce in his voice. "You're too important." I want to ask what he means by that, want to understand why the Alpha King would care so much about a rejected Omega from an outer pack. But exhaustion is pulling me under, dragging me down into darkness. The last thing I remember before sleep claims me is the steady rhythm of Kaelen's heartbeat and the feeling of absolute safety in his arms. When I wake, sunlight is streaming through windows I don't remember. I'm in a bed softer than anything I've ever felt, covered in blankets that smell like winter, and forests, and him. My body aches, but it's a good ache. The ache of muscles that have been worked hard, but are fundamentally whole. And inside me, my wolf is there. Present. Powerful. free. I sit up carefully, testing my limits, and find that while I'm sore, I'm functional. More than functional. I feel stronger than I ever have, like every cell in my body is humming with potential energy, just waiting to be unleashed. There's a tray on the bedside table, food that smells incredible: eggs, bacon, toast, fruit, orange juice. My stomach growls at the sight of it, and I realize I'm starving. I don't remember the last time I ate. As I'm finishing the meal, there's a knock at the door. "Come in," I call. Kaelen enters, and the sight of him makes my newly freed wolf sit up and take notice. Not in a mate bond way. This is different. This is recognition of an equal, of a dominant wolf acknowledging another dominant, of power calling to power. "You're awake," he says, studying me with those intense eyes. "And eating. That's good. How do you feel?" "Like I've been run over by a truck," I admit, "but also like I could run a marathon. It's strange." "That's normal," he says, moving closer. "Your body is adjusting to having access to your full power for the first time. It'll take a few days to stabilize completely." He pauses. "But there's something you should know. While you were recovering, we received news from Silvermoon. A witch was found dead on their territory. Murdered." My blood runs cold. "What witch?" "We don't have confirmation yet, but based on the description, the timing, the marks of dark magic on the body..." His jaw clenches. "We believe it's Morgana Blackthorn, Marcus's great-aunt, the witch who disappeared 17 years ago." 17 years ago. The same time I was cursed. "She was the one who cursed me," I say, and it's not a question. "We believe so. And now she's dead, killed right after I started investigating your curse." His eyes are hard now, dangerous. "Someone didn't want her talking. Someone who has a lot to lose if the truth about your curse comes out." "The Blackthorns," I say slowly. "Marcus's family." "That's what we need to find out." He extends his hand toward me. "Can you walk? There's someone I need you to meet. Someone who might have information about who paid Morgana to curse you." I take his hand, and the moment our skin touches, I feel it. The blood oath bond he created when he claimed me. Not a mate bond, but something almost as strong. A warrior bond. A connection that lets me feel his determination, his protective instincts, his absolute conviction that he will find whoever hurt me and make them pay. "I can walk," I say, standing with his support. "And I want answers. I want to know who stole 17 years of my life." "Then let's go get them," Kaelen says. And together, bound by blood oath and common purpose, we walk out of my room and toward the truth that's waiting. The war room is exactly what I expect from an Alpha King who built his empire through strategic conquest. Maps cover every wall, marking territories, pack lands, and zones of influence across the entire continent. A massive table dominates the center, its surface covered with intelligence reports, photographs, and documents that speak of an investigation that's been ongoing long before I arrived. Ryder is already there when Kaelen and I enter, along with two wolves I don't recognize. One is a woman with silver-streaked hair and calculating eyes. The other is a massive male with scars that tell stories of battles survived. "Sera," Kaelen says, gesturing to them. "This is Commander Astrid, head of intelligence, and General Marcus, no relation to your former mate, who leads our military operations." I nod to both, trying not to feel overwhelmed by the sheer competence radiating from everyone in this room. These are wolves who have fought beside their king, bled for him, built an empire with him, and now they're looking at me like I'm the missing piece to a puzzle they've been trying to solve. "Show her," Kaelen says to Astrid. The intelligence commander pulls out a file and spreads photographs across the table. They show a body, ancient and withered, covered in tattoos that seem to writhe even in death. Morgana Blackthorn, the witch who cursed me. "She was found 4 days ago in Silvermoon territory," Astrid explains, her voice clinical. "Cause of death was a curse, specifically a death curse. Quick but extremely painful. Whoever killed her was powerful and wanted to send a message." "What kind of message?" I ask, forcing myself to look at the photos despite the nausea rising in my throat. "That loose ends will be tied up," Kaelen says grimly. Morgana knew who hired her to curse you. She knew why. And the moment I started investigating, someone decided that information was too dangerous to let exist. Can you trace the death curse? I look at Astrid. Find out who cast it? Death curses don't leave signatures, she says, shaking her head. That's the point. They're designed for untraceable kills. But we don't need magic to trace this. We need old-fashioned intelligence work. General Marcus, the scarred wolf, leans forward. We've been investigating the Blackthorn family for the past week. Their finances, their connections, their movements 17 years ago. And we found something interesting. He pulls out another document. Large payments made to an offshore account. Payments that started right around the time you were cursed and continued for 3 years. Payments to Morgana? I ask. We believe so, but here's where it gets complicated. He taps the document. The payments didn't come from Victor Blackthorn. They came from someone else, someone with significantly more resources and reach. Kaelen's expression darkens. Show her the signature. Astrid pulls out one final document, and my blood runs cold when I see the name at the bottom. Not Victor Blackthorn, Victor Shadowfang, Alpha King of the Northern Territories, one of the most powerful wolves on the continent. I don't understand, I say, looking between them. Why would a Northern Alpha King care about cursing me? I'm nobody. I was nobody. You were never nobody, Kaelen says, his voice hard. You were a prophesied lunar wolf from a bloodline that produces extraordinary power. The Ashwood line has been watched for generations. When you were born, when the prophecy was made about you, Victor saw an opportunity. What opportunity? To control you, Ryder says from his position by the door. To suppress you until you came of age, then claim you for himself. Use your power to expand his territory, crush his enemies, build an empire that would span the entire continent. The implications make me feel sick. He paid Morgana to curse me, to keep me weak until he was ready to use me. And Victor Blackthorn was his intermediary, Kaelen confirms. A ranked wolf in Silvermoon, perfectly positioned to monitor you, make sure the curse held, report back to Victor on your development. But something went wrong, I say slowly, pieces clicking together. Marcus rejected me. That wasn't part of the plan, was it? No, Astrid says. According to our intelligence, Marcus was supposed to accept the mate bond, keep you and Silvermoon under their control. But he rejected you instead, triggering rejection sickness that started to crack the curse. That's when Victor decided to accelerate his timeline. The announcement of my visit to Silvermoon, Kaelen says. Victor knew I was searching for cursed lunar wolves, knew I was getting close to finding you, so he made his move. He killed Morgana to cover his tracks, I finish, and now he's coming for me. He's already here, Kaelen says grimly. He arrived 2 hours ago with 100 warriors. He's claiming you were promised to him, that breaking your curse was done without his consent, and that I've stolen what belongs to the Northern Territories. My wolf surges forward, furious at the idea that anyone thinks they own me. I don't belong to anyone. I know that, Kaelen says, and something warm flashes in his eyes. But Victor doesn't care about consent or choice. He cares about power. And right now, you represent the kind of power that could shift the balance of the entire continent. So what do? We fight, General Marcus says simply. Victor has issued a formal challenge, trial by combat, him versus Kaelen. Winner takes you and the loser's territory. My heart stops. That's insane. You could lose everything. Lose. I could, Kaelen agrees, but I won't, because I don't lose. He looks at me, and the absolute conviction in his eyes makes something in my chest tighten. And I won't let him take you. Not now, not ever. Before I can respond, before I can process the magnitude of what he's willing to risk for me, an alarm sounds through the palace. Ryder straightens, his hand going to the weapon at his hip. They're here, he says. Victor and his wolves. They're at the main gates demanding entry. Let them in, Kaelen says, his voice calm despite the tension crackling through the room. But on our terms, war room protocols, full security, Nobody gets within striking distance of Sera. Your Majesty, Astrid says carefully, if Victor sees how heavily we're protecting her, he'll know how valuable she is to us. He already knows, Kaelen says. The question is whether he understands that valuable doesn't mean tradable. Sera isn't a bargaining chip. She's a person under my protection, and I'll die before I let him take her. The words hang in the air, heavy with promise and threat. Then Kaelen turns to me, his expression softening slightly. You don't have to be there when I meet with him. You can stay here, protected, while we handle the political posturing. No, I say immediately. If this is about me, I should be there. I want to see the wolf who cursed me, who stole my childhood, who thinks he can own me like property. It could be dangerous, Ryder warns. I'm a lunar wolf, I say, and even saying the words feels surreal. An alpha dominant. Isn't that supposed to mean I'm one of the most powerful wolves that exists? I look at Kaelen. Then let me act like it. Let me stand beside you when you face him. Something that might be pride crosses Kaelen's face. All right, but you stay close to me. And if things go wrong, you let Ryder get you to safety. Understood? Understood. 20 minutes later, I'm standing in the palace's grand receiving hall, positioned slightly behind and to the left of Kaelen's throne. It's a tactical position, I realize, close enough to show I'm under his protection, far enough back that I'm not the primary focus. Ryder and 2 other guards flank me, their hands resting casually on their weapons in a way that's anything but casual. The doors open, and Victor Shadowfang enters. He's massive, even bigger than Kaelen, easily 6'6" with shoulders that seem to span doorways. His hair is dark shot through with silver, his face all hard angles and old scars. But it's his eyes that make my wolf recoil. They're cold, calculating. The eyes of a predator who sees everything as potential prey or potential threat. He's not alone. 100 warriors file in behind him, all of them battle-hardened, all of them loyal to a king who rules through fear and force. They spread out through the hall in a formation that's clearly been practiced, creating a show of strength that's meant to intimidate. Kaelen doesn't move from his throne, doesn't stand to greet Victor as protocol would normally dictate. It's a deliberate insult, a statement that Victor is here at Kaelen's sufferance, not as an equal. Victor, Kaelen says, his voice carrying through the hall with effortless authority. You're a long way from the Northern Territories. What brings you to Eclipse City? You know exactly what brings me, Victor says, his voice a deep rumble that probably makes lesser wolves submit on instinct. The girl, the lunar wolf you stole from Silvermoon Pack. Stole? Kaelen's eyebrow raises. That's an interesting interpretation. I was under the impression that I offered protection to a cursed wolf who was being monitored by your spy in Silvermoon. Victor's eyes narrow. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you? Kaelen leans forward slightly. Victor Blackthorn has been very helpful in our investigation, very talkative about who paid him to keep Sera Ashwood under surveillance, about who provided the funds to hire Morgana Blackthorn to curse a 6-year-old child, about who gave orders to maintain that curse until she came of age. The temperature in the room seems to drop. Victor's warriors shift, hands moving toward weapons. Kaelen's guards respond in kind, and suddenly the grand hall feels like a powder keg waiting for a spark. Interesting story, Victor says, his voice dangerously calm. But I'm afraid Victor Blackthorn won't be corroborating it. He died 3 days ago. Tragic accident during a training exercise. My stomach drops. Victor is dead. The man who helped curse me, who monitored me my entire life, who could have testified against Victor, conveniently died right before this confrontation. How unfortunate, Kaelen says dryly. But we have other evidence. Financial records, communications, enough to prove that you orchestrated the cursing of a lunar wolf for your own political gain. Prove it in what court? Victor challenges. We both know that Alpha Kings answer to no law but their own. You have no authority over me, Nightshade, and I have every right to claim what was promised to me. Sera Ashwood was never yours to claim, Kaelen says, and now there's steel in his voice. She's not property, not a tool, not a weapon to be used for territorial expansion. She's a person, and she's under my protection. For now, Victor says. He looks past Kaelen, his cold eyes finding me. But I'm a patient wolf. I waited 17 years for her to mature. I can wait a little longer. The threat is clear. Victor isn't going to challenge Kaelen directly right now, not with the home territory advantage and the military might of Eclipse City arrayed against him. But he's not giving up either. He's going to wait, watch, and strike when the moment is right. You'll be waiting forever, I say, stepping forward before Ryder can stop me. Every eye in the hall turns to me, but I keep my focus on Victor. Because I'll never go with you willingly. And unlike you, Kaelen Nightshade respects choice. Victor's lips curl into something that might be a smile if it contained any warmth. The puppy has teeth. How charming. He takes a step toward me, and immediately Kaelen is on his feet, moving between us with supernatural speed. That's close enough, Kaelen says quietly, but there's a world of threat in those words. Afraid I'll steal her away? Victor mocks. Afraid I'll kill you for threatening what's mine, Kaelen corrects. You're in my territory, Victor, my city, my palace, and you're making threats against a wolf under my protection. Give me one reason I shouldn't have my guards remove you from these premises by force. The tension ratchets higher. Victor's warriors tense, ready for violence. Kaelen's guards mirror them. It would only take one wrong move, one spark, to turn this diplomatic meeting into a bloodbath. I came here to offer you a choice, Victor says after a long moment. A civilized solution to our disagreement. What kind of solution? Trial by combat, Victor says, and his smile grows wider. You and me. Traditional rules. Fight until one submits or dies. If you win, I leave and never come back for the girl. If I win, she comes with me and you cede your southern territories to the north. The terms are outrageous. Kaelen would be risking not just me, but a third of his kingdom on a single fight. But I can see in Victor's eyes that he thinks he's already won. He's bigger than Kaelen, probably has more raw strength, and he's killed 30 alphas in single combat over his reign. I accept, Kaelen says without hesitation. Your Majesty, Astrid starts, but Kaelen raises a hand, silencing her. I accept your challenge, Victor. Tomorrow at dawn, the arena, submission or death. His eyes are glowing now, his wolf rising to the surface. And when I win, you'll acknowledge publicly that you orchestrated Sera's cursing. You'll abdicate your position as Alpha King of the North, and you'll spend the rest of your life in my dungeons, thinking about what it costs to treat people like property. Victor's smile falters slightly. Those weren't the terms he expected. And if I refuse those counterterms? Then you can leave now, and I'll consider this meeting an act of war, Kaelen says simply. I'll mobilize my armies, march on the northern territories, and take them by force. Your choice. For a long moment, Victor stares at Kaelen, clearly trying to decide if he's bluffing. But whatever he sees in Kaelen's eyes convinces him that the threat is real. Dawn tomorrow, Victor finally says. In your arena, submission or death. Your terms if you win, mine if I do. And he turns to leave, his warriors falling into formation behind him. But he pauses at the door, looking back at me one more time. 17 years I invested in you, girl. 17 years of planning and patience. I don't plan to lose that investment now. Then he's gone, and the hall erupts into controlled chaos as Kaelen's advisors start talking over each other, arguing about strategy and risk assessment and whether their king has lost his mind. But Kaelen isn't listening to any of them. He's looking at me, his expression unreadable. You didn't have to accept, I say quietly. You didn't have to risk everything for me. Yes, he says simply. I did. That night, I can't sleep. How could I? Tomorrow, Kaelen is going to fight Victor Shadowfang, a wolf who's killed 30 alphas, all because of me, all because he refuses to let someone take me against my will. I'm pacing my room, my newly freed wolf restless beneath my skin, when there's a knock at my door. It's past midnight. Everyone should be asleep, preparing for the trial tomorrow. But somehow I know who it is before I open the door. Kaelen stands in the hallway, still dressed from the meeting, looking tired in a way I haven't seen before. "Can't sleep either?" I ask. "Too much to think about," he admits. "May I come in?" I step aside, letting him enter. He moves to the window, looking out over Eclipse City spread below us, glittering with lights in the darkness. "You should know something," he says without turning around. 10 years ago, I had a mate. Her name was Liana. She was fierce and brave and everything I thought I wanted in a partner. The words hit me harder than they should. Of course he had a mate. A wolf like Kaelen, powerful and commanding, would have been claimed long ago. "What happened to her?" I ask, though I already know the answer can't be good. "She was killed," he says flatly, "by rogues sent by a rival Alpha. They ambushed her while she was on patrol. By the time I got there, she was dying in my arms." His hands clench into fists. Her last words were a request. She made me promise to find the lunar wolves, to protect them, because she believed they were the key to preventing the kind of violence that killed her. "I'm sorry," I whisper, understanding now why he's so driven to save cursed wolves, why finding me meant so much to him. "I made her a promise," he continues, "that I would protect every lunar wolf I could find, that I would never let another one die because I wasn't strong enough, wasn't fast enough, wasn't prepared enough." He turns to face me finally. "I've saved 11 cursed lunar wolves in the last 10 years, but you're different, Sera. You're not just another wolf I'm protecting out of duty." My heart is racing now. "Then what am I?" "You're someone I choose," he says, closing the distance between us. "Not because of a mate bond or a promise to the dead or political advantage. I choose you because you're brave and strong and refuse to stay broken, because watching you survive that curse breaking, watching you stand up to Victor today, made me realize something." "What?" "That somewhere between offering you protection and fighting for your freedom, I fell for you." His hand comes up to cut my face, and the touch sends electricity through my entire body. "I'm asking, no, I'm begging for you to give us a chance, to let me court you properly, to see if this thing between us, this connection that's not fate but choice, could become something real. I should be cautious, should protect my heart after Marcus's rejection, should take time to process everything that's happened. But standing here, looking into Kaelen's eyes, feeling the blood oath bond humming between us, all I can think is that life is too short to be afraid of wanting something. "Yes," I breathe. "Yes, I want that. I want us." The smile that crosses his face is beautiful, genuine, unguarded. And then he's kissing me, claiming my mouth with an intensity that makes my knees weak. His hands slide into my hair, tilting my head to deepen the kiss. And I melt into him, into this moment, into the promise of something that's ours and not destiny's. When we finally break apart, we're both breathing hard, and I can see silver light dancing in his eyes as his wolf responds to mine. "I have to warn you," he says, his forehead resting against mine. "I'm not an easy man to love. I'm demanding, possessive, and I have a kingdom to run. Being with me won't be simple." "Good," I say, my hands fisting in his shirt. "Because I'm not a simple woman anymore. I'm a lunar wolf with power I'm still learning to control. I'm demanding in my own way, and I refuse to be anything less than an equal partner." His smile widens. "Perfect. I wouldn't want you any other way." We stand there in my room, holding each other, until the sky outside starts to lighten with the approaching dawn. Until it's time for Kaelen to face Victor in combat. Until everything we've just begun could end before it has a chance to truly start. "Promise me something," I say as he prepares to leave. "Anything." "Promise me you'll win," I say fiercely. "Promise me you'll come back, because I just found you, and I'm not ready to lose you." "I promise," he says, and kisses me one more time. "I don't lose, Sera, and I'll die before I let Victor take you from me." Then he's gone, and I'm left alone with my racing heart and the terrifying knowledge that the man I'm falling for is about to risk everything in combat against a killer. The arena is packed when I arrive with Ryder and a full complement of guards. It seems like every wolf in Eclipse City has turned out to watch their king fight, along with representatives from every major pack in the territories. This isn't just a trial by combat anymore. It's a spectacle. A statement about power and dominance and what happens when you threaten an Alpha King's claim. I'm led to a raised platform with the best view of the fighting circle. From here, I can see everything. The 50-foot diameter of packed earth, the weapons rack on one side, the clear morning sky overhead, perfect weather for bloodshed. Victor enters first, and the northern wolves cheer. He's dressed in full tactical armor, covered in weapons, swords, knives, even what looks like a mace attached to his belt. He's not taking any chances, not leaving anything to fortune. He's here to win by any means necessary. Kaelen enters second, and the difference is stark. He's wearing minimal armor, just reinforced leather over his chest, a single sword at his hip, no other weapons visible. He looks almost casual, like he's going for a morning walk rather than a fight to the death. But I can see the coiled tension in his shoulders, the way his eyes are already glowing with wolf light, the predatory grace in every movement. This is Kaelen Nightshade in his element, the Winter King, the wolf who built an empire through strategic violence and absolute certainty in his own abilities. An elder I don't recognize steps forward to officiate. The rules are simple. Fight until one submits or dies. No outside interference. Magic is allowed, but not encouraged. The winner takes all. Any last words? The elder asks. Just one, Kaelen says, his eyes finding mine across the arena. This is for you. Then the fight begins. Victor attacks first, using his size and reach advantage to drive Kaelen back. His strikes are brutal, powered by raw strength that would crush a lesser wolf. But Kaelen isn't lesser. He's dodging, weaving, analyzing Victor's fighting style with the cold calculation of a strategist. "Stand and fight!" Victor roars, frustrated by Kaelen's defensive approach. "Why?" Kaelen asks calmly, blocking a strike that would have taken his head off. "You're doing exactly what I want you to do, wasting energy, getting frustrated, making mistakes." It's true. I can see it even from here. Victor is powerful, but he's relying purely on strength and aggression. Kaelen is fighting smart, conserving energy, waiting for his opening. That opening comes 5 minutes into the fight. Victor overextends on a massive overhead strike, putting all his weight behind it. Kaelen sidesteps, and suddenly he's behind Victor, his sword finding the gap in the armor at Victor's knee. The blade cuts through tendon and muscle, and Victor staggers, his left leg buckling. "First blood," Kaelen says, dancing back out of range. "How many more pieces do you want to lose before you yield?" Victor's answer is a roar of rage. He charges despite the injured leg, weapons flashing in the morning sun. And for a moment, it looks like his sheer ferocity might overwhelm Kaelen's calculated defense. But then Kaelen shifts tactics. He's not defending anymore. He's attacking. And every strike is surgical, precise, targeting joints and weak points with the expertise of someone who studied anatomy for exactly this purpose. Within 2 minutes, Victor has cuts on both shoulders, limiting his range of motion. Another cut on his sword arm makes his grip weaken. "You can't beat me," Kaelen says, and there's no gloating in his voice, just certainty. "You're bigger, stronger, maybe even more experienced in raw combat. But I'm smarter, I plan better, and I fight for something that matters." His eyes flick to me briefly. "You fight for pride and power. I fight for her. That's why you lose." Victor must realize he's losing because he does something desperate. He drops his weapons and shifts, his human form exploding into a massive, dark, furred wolf that's easily twice the size of a normal alpha. It's against the traditional rules of trial by combat, but no one stops him. If anything, the crowd leans forward, eager to see how Kaelen responds. Kaelen doesn't shift. Instead, he sheathes his sword and smiles. "You want to fight as wolves? Fine." And then his eyes blaze with power, and I feel what happens next through the blood oath bond. He's using alpha dominance, but not the normal kind. This is something more, something that makes every wolf in the arena, including Victor, stumble under the weight of it. Victor, in his massive wolf form, actually whimpers and drops to his belly in submission. Not because he wants to, because he physically cannot resist the command radiating from Kaelen. This is what a true Alpha King looks like when he stops holding back. This is power that transcends size or strength or tactics. "Shift back," Kaelen commands, and Victor does, his body returning to human form against his will. "Kneel." Victor kneels, and the humiliation on his face is absolute. Every wolf in the arena can see that he's been dominated completely, forced to submit without Kaelen even shifting to wolf form. "You challenged me thinking you were the stronger wolf," Kaelen says, walking around Victor's kneeling form. But strength isn't just about size or battle experience. It's about will, purpose, the conviction to fight for something beyond yourself. He stops in front of Victor. "You fought to own Sera like property. I fought to give her freedom to choose. Your mistake was thinking those were equivalent motivations." He looks up at the elder officiating. "Victor Shadowfang has submitted. The trial is over. He's mine to judge." The arena erupts. Eclipse City wolves cheering. Northern wolves standing in shocked silence as they watch their king defeated, humiliated, forced to his knees by a wolf they thought was inferior. "The terms," the elder says. "Victor must acknowledge his crime and abdicate his position." "I'll never," Victor starts, but Kaelen's eyes flash and the words die in his throat. "You will," Kaelen says coldly, "because the alternative is death. And as much as you might think you're ready to die, your wolf isn't. Your wolf knows when it's been beaten by a superior predator, so you have two choices. Fulfill the terms of your defeat, or I give your territory to someone worthy of ruling it and execute you for crimes against a lunar wolf." Victor's face twists with rage and humiliation, but eventually he speaks. "I, Victor Shadowfang, acknowledge that I paid Morgana Blackthorn to curse Sera Ashwood when she was a child. I acknowledge that I plan to use her power for territorial expansion. I acknowledge my crimes against a wolf blessed by the moon goddess. And I abdicate my position as Alpha King of the Northern Territories, effective immediately." The words cost him everything. I can see it in his eyes. But he says them because the alternative is death, and even his pride isn't worth that. "Take him to the dungeons," Kaelen orders, and guards move forward to seize Victor. "He'll stand trial before the full council of Alphas for his crimes, but until then, he's my prisoner." As Victor is led away in chains, Kaelen turns to face the arena full of watching wolves. "Let this be a lesson," he says, his voice carrying to every corner. "I don't care how powerful you are, how old your bloodline is, how many territories you control. If you harm someone under my protection, you answer to me, and I don't show mercy to those who treat wolves like property." The crowd roars approval, and I realize this is about more than just Victor. This is Kaelen making a statement to every alpha in the territories. This is him drawing a line and daring anyone to cross it. His eyes find mine across the arena, and he smiles. Then he's walking toward me, climbing the steps to my platform, and before I can think better of it, I'm running to meet him. We collide in the middle, and he catches me, lifting me off my feet as I wrap my arms around his neck. He's covered in sweat and blood, none of it his own, and he's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. "You won," I breathe against his ear. "I promised you I would," he says, setting me down but not letting go. "I don't break my promises, Sera." "I know," I say, and then I'm kissing him in front of thousands of witnesses, claiming him as publicly as he's claimed me. Not because of a mate bond or political advantage or anything except pure choice. When we finally break apart, the arena is cheering. Not for the victory in combat, though that's part of it, but for this. For their king finding someone worth fighting for the lunar wolf who survived a curse and chose to stay. "There's one more thing," Kaelen says, pulling back slightly. From his pocket, he produces a small box. "I know this is fast. I know we've only known each other for days, but I've learned that life is too short to waste time on uncertainty, and I'm certain about you." He opens the box to reveal a silver ring set with a moonstone that seems to glow with its own inner light. "I'm not asking you to be my mate," he says. "The moon goddess didn't choose us for each other, but I'm choosing you anyway. I'm asking you to be my partner, my equal, my chosen one. Will you marry me, Sera? Will you build a future with me?" Tears blur my vision as I look at the ring, at this man who saved me in every way a person can be saved, who saw my worth when no one else did, who taught me that chosen love is more powerful than destined love. Yes, I whisper, my voice breaking. Yes, I'll marry you. I'll choose you. Every day for the rest of my life, I'll choose you. He slides the ring onto my finger, and it fits perfectly, like it was made for me. Like this moment was always meant to happen, not because of fate, but because we chose it. As we kiss again, the moonstone catches the morning sun and glows brighter, and somewhere I like to think the moon goddess is smiling. Not because she planned this, but because we found our own way to happiness. 6 months later, I'm standing on the same balcony where Kaelen first proposed, watching the sunset paint Eclipse City in shades of gold and amber. So much has changed since that night. Victor is serving a life sentence in the dungeons. The Northern Territories are under new leadership, an Alpha who actually cares about his people rather than just power. Marcus has become a decent Alpha of Silvermoon, working to undo his family's corruption. And I've become Luna Queen of Eclipse City, not just in title, but in practice. I work alongside Kaelen, ruling with him as true equals, using my lunar wolf powers to strengthen our pack bonds, to heal the wounded, to be exactly what a Luna should be: strong, compassionate, worthy. Arms wrap around me from behind, and I lean back into Kaelen's solid warmth. "Penny for your thoughts," he murmurs against my ear. "Just thinking about how different my life is now," I say. 6 months ago, I was broken and rejected. Now I'm here with you, stronger than I ever imagined possible. Any regrets? Not a single one. I turn in his arms to face him, though I do have some news that might change things. His eyes sharpen with concern. What kind of news? I take his hand and place it on my stomach. The kind that comes in about 7 months. He freezes, his eyes widening. You're pregnant? Grandmother Celeste confirmed it this morning. I'm smiling through happy tears now. We're having twins, a boy and a girl. For a long moment, Kaelen just stares at me, processing. Then he drops to his knees, his hands on my stomach, his expression filled with such wonder and joy that it takes my breath away. Twins, he breathes. We're having twins. And Kaelen, I say gently, making him look up at me. Celeste says they're both lunar wolves. The first lunar wolves born in 300 years. Our children are going to be extraordinary. He stands, pulling me into his arms, holding me like I'm the most precious thing in the world. I will protect them, he promises fiercely. You, our children, our family. No one will ever curse them or hurt them or make them feel like they're anything less than perfect. I know, I say, because I do know. I trust Kaelen Nightshade completely. Trust him with my life, my heart, my future. We'll protect them together. We'll teach them that chosen love is stronger than fated love, that power without honor is worthless. That family is what we build, not what we're born into. Together, he agrees, and kisses me softly. Always together. As the sun sets over Eclipse City, as we stand on this balcony planning for our future, I think about how far I've come. From the broken, rejected Omega who wasn't worth keeping, to the Luna Queen who chose her own destiny. They say the moon goddess weaves perfect bonds, that destiny is sacred, that fated mates are the ultimate form of love. But I learned something better. The bonds we choose are the ones that last. The bonds we fight for are the ones worth having, and the love we build is stronger than any destiny. Marcus rejected me because he couldn't see my worth, but that rejection freed me to find something infinitely better. It freed me to find Kaelen, to find myself, to become the wolf I was always meant to be. And as I stand here, Kaelen's hand on my stomach where our children are growing, wearing his ring and his claiming mark and his love, I realize that sometimes being rejected by your destined mate is the best thing that can happen to you, because it opens the door for you to find your chosen mate, your equal, your true partner. And that is more powerful than any mate bond could ever be. The end.